Good evening and Jai Hind, and it gives me immense pleasure to be on behalf of the Anon family to welcome you all to our online creativity summer program, AGF GeNxt RISE. And as the name suggests, GeNxt, this program is for the Gen Next that's coming up, and we all wish and hope that they rise with the kind of programs that we bring for them. So this is a non-global foundation promoting life skills and mental health, in fact, well-being. And this program will be from the 8th of June to the 12th of June. The details we will be sharing further, and today being the orientation ceremony. Now, what does AGF GeNxt RISE, aspire to do? It aspires to reinvent, inspire, skill, and empower our generation next. Now, AGF GeNxt RISE, as we said, is an online program, summer camp, but it focuses more on bringing out the creativity factor in our young people. Because when our children are too much onto, playing the games on screen, or probably, doing the chat GPT thing, so their creativity quotient somewhere is getting impacted. And so we thought, let us come up with certain thoughts, certain programs here during this 1 week where they do things with paper, with pens and colors and things, and bring out that creativity quotient in themselves. So let's meet the trainers, because we try to bring in our interns who climb up the ladder a lot of opportunities so that they can, come up with their creativity and take those sessions. But at the same time, this is an experiential time for them as well. So let's meet our trainers who have been holding a lot of our other things also. So starting with Jia Singh, who is our EC Vice President, she would be taking up our very beautiful topic on building the entrepreneurial mindset. And what we mean by that is our children have a lot of creativity and innovation in them. So we need to start thinking differently and come up with different prototypes, ideations, how that thing works. How do people come up with new startup ideas or entrepreneur, things? And that's where Jia Singh, our EC Vice President, would be taking up. So moving on to the next, our trainer, we have with us Himanshi. Himanshi is the EC Leadership Facilitator, and she would be doing, so we have all been doing a lot of paper folding since our childhood, but this paper folding is entirely different. And we are trying to build imagination through that. Let me call upon Himanshi, and she will be telling you a little bit about herself and the program that she's going to take over.
Hi everyone, I am Himanshi, ECLF at Anon. And firstly, I want to say I'm really excited for this initiative. And I'm very excited to meet everyone who is going to learn so much. And as Shami ma'am said, that, we are going to promote, we are going to empower, we are going to inspire, right? So many things. For me, I personally will be taking the sessions which will have a very interesting activity, a paper folding activity. And let me tell you, it's not just about paper folding. It is, something that will help a child, explore their self-expression, their emotional awareness, a creative thinking, paper folding activity, एक simple सी चीज से, so that it's so simple that even if a child is sitting alone and it's, even if they're getting bored, they'll just pick up a piece of paper, try to make something out of it, even on their own, which will will be very engaging energy for them, and it will feel like a safe creative space for themselves to explore how they can suddenly come up with things on their own, rather than just getting in from the screens today that the children are getting. So yeah, I am very very excited, and thank you so much for having me here, Shami ma'am, Aarti ma'am.
Lovely. Thank you, Himanshi. And I'm sure with your kind of dynamic energies. You are going to bring in a lot of different way of thinking at the same activity that we have been doing. We also have with us Navya Agarwal. So Navya is taking up a very beautiful activity on building our visual skills, how to interpret. So I'll hand over to Navya herself to explain what she's going to do.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And firstly, I would like to say that I'm really excited to meet everyone here and get to know you more in the sessions that are coming up. So, a little more about myself. I'm an ECIL, as Shami ma'am mentioned, and I will be meeting you on Mondays and Wednesday. So, basically, my activity will involve looking at a video, and we all know that today kids look at a lot of videos, whether they are on YouTube or if we are watching some movies. But what about actively watching those videos and seeing what those people are doing rather than just, blindly looking at them? So that's what my session will involve. So basically, we will be pausing at really small clips of video and we'll be seeing how those actions actually impact the real life. So that is something that we often miss in our daily lives. But in the session, we are going to look at them in a depth, and then those will be followed up by a lot of reflection activities so that you can come up with your own creativity on how you can use them in the real life situations. So I look forward to meeting you all there.
Lovely, Navya. Reflection and coming up with different ways of interpreting is something that makes us look at things in from a very different perspective. So we look forward to this beautiful activity. And next, going on to is a very an activity that I very well relate to, and that is theater. uh, Theater is something that helps us come up, express ourselves so well, and have different tangents to any kind of story, and it helps us come out with our own inner thoughts in the most creative way. So this is another activity of story development, and it includes building our theoretical skills, led by our another EC innovation lead, Mahi Chauhan, and we will be meeting her. We'll be sharing the agenda when she will be joining us. Then moving on to the next activity is building auditory skills. आजकल हमको listening बहुत कम होगी because of so much of distractions all around. We are not listening at all. So this activity with Yuvakshi Goswami, our another ECIL, we aim to build those auditory skills, those listening skills in our children. So it's going to be again very engaging, interesting, and I'm sure with just 1 or 2 hours of this activity, it will make our children start thinking or probably start listening to things with greater attention than before. So this was about our different ECILs and the different activities. But the whole program has been designed by none other than our founder and president, Dr. Aarti Girdhar. And let's hear from her. What's the thought behind this program?
Thank you so much, Shami ma'am. Dear parents, yes. Earlier, I used to think what kind of skills we can develop in the children. But over a period of time, when I have been going to the schools and talking to the students and parents and teachers, of course, I believe something that is missing is the creative thinking and how to work in a practical way to develop that creative thinking is by initiating the idea in a different ways. For example, when there is an audio session, then how the child believe that yes, he can be creative in that area also, and then by folding a paper he can be creative in this way. So we will be identifying what are the different ways where we are able to identify the unique creativity in the child. So we look forward how this batch goes, because this is not the first batch. We are looking into exploring more batches in future also, because creativity is the need of our, if you say on the virtual platform AI is the need, then to beat AI, creativity is necessary. So we have to build certain kind of curriculum to make the child understand that yes, he is creative, he is confident, and he can think 100 times of what the actual thing is. Fine. So that is why creativity is beautiful. It is only how we take it forward. So let us see, it's an experimental camp where we think that students are going to experience that this is also possible and the other thing is also possible. So there are plan A, plan B, plan C, n number of plans for them that we will be making them understand. So thank you very much. Looking forward.
So thank you, Dr. Aarti Girdhar. And so this program will be from 12 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock. So what do we aim to develop by these activities that we are doing? So a lot of competences. So certain things are visible when we do right, कि marks इतने आए हैं तो वो हमें दिखाई देता है. बट जो competences होती हैं जो हम develop करते हैं बच्चों में वो invisible होती हैं. And these activities only help us develop them. So what are those that we are trying to work on? Most importantly, communication skills, creativity, and innovation, because the whole theme is being creative. Leadership skills, entrepreneurial mindset, critical thinking, collaboration, teamwork. So these days, children are sitting solitary in front of the screen. They've forgotten how to communicate. They've forgotten how to collaborate and do the teamwork. And so we aim to bring them together. And this also builds in confidence, how to present their work, how to take care of their well-being, do problem solving, have a growth mindset. Something didn't work out, I'm going to try again. Probably I am a work in progress, and everything is not about being perfect. Also, we aim to work at the most important thing, that is the socio-emotional skills, that is so very important in these days where a lot of how do I say, aggression and these things are happening. So we need to develop that emotional quotient, and these are the competencies that we are trying to work on. Now, what are, सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन होगा आपके माइंड में कि इतनी सारी चीजें हैं, रिसोर्सेस क्या चाहिए होंगे, क्या क्या हमें सामान चाहिए. सो नॉट मच. We are trying to just need the very basic and little things. And what would you need? Please, whenever you join, keep some newspapers around, some loose sheets, some sketch pens. Take a very small drawing file, cover it with newspaper. You can label it with your name. And please, parents, remember that we would be requiring the PDF of that art file that our children have created throughout this 1 week by Friday evening, June 12th, because 13th, we are going to have a concluding meeting on the Saturday. So आपका जो you could do it every day, whatever they do, and start taking the pictures or maybe small videos or clips, whatever you want to do. And by the end of the week, Friday, you can share those so that we can look at all the PDF on Fridays. And when we have a concluding or the growth trajectory that is happening over the 1 week, we can discuss it on Saturday. Yeah. तो अब ये तो वो हम करने क्या वाले हैं. चलो, अब सबसे बड़ी मस्ती की बात, एक सबसे पहला टास्क दे देते हैं. अब कहोगे आज से ही? हाँ, आज से ही. तो एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग टास्क डेवलप किया है. If we could go to the next slide. So we will be sharing this with you. What you have to do is, the children have to take their picture. And if you see this rectangle on the yellow strip, please put your picture on it. You could do it digitally. You could do it by taking a printout, but digitally would be better because it will look very nice. Just put it on. And then what you do is you share it on your parents' social media platforms and tag Anon, tag Dr. Aarti Girdhar. You could tag whosoever you wish to whenever you find the Anon people, Anon family, but for sure Anon Global Foundation. So I am a creative hero. Show that you are so very happy and proud to join a camp where creativity is the theme, where creativity is the buzzword. And skills that you are learning, you can always showcase to your friends. Yeah. So this is your first task. Can we have a thumbs up by all those who would be taking it up? You can start doing it today so that we can before we join on Monday? Lovely. So this is your first task and moving forward. अब बच्चे कर रहे हैं तो 5 दिन के बाद में जो उनकी growth trajectory है, what are the incentives? First of all, you all get an e-certificate, which again you can showcase on your social media platforms, wear them as a badge of a trophy that you have won. Apart from this e-certificate for all, there will be a creativity trophy for the top 3 participants. So be the best creative possible, participate, engage, come up with new ideas, do a lot of things, because 3 of you are certainly going to bag this beautiful trophy that we have for you. तो ये हो गया सर्टिफिकेशन एंड अवार्ड्स भी। अब हम आ जाते हैं, थोड़ा सा एजेंडा देख लेते हैं ऑन द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। सो दिस विल बी शेयर्ड विद यू, बट देन जस्ट फॉर नोइंग, 8 June we are having video interpretation from 12 to 1. So this is the whole. And before you go or come up with your questions, please scan our QR code and check out our presence on all our different social media platforms, because this will help you tag us, connect with us and tag us.